What's cracking, peeps? Your boy T-Money here with you on this fine Friday evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Here to report for Body Bags. The movie I chose to review for this week is none other than a Friday the 13th fan film from 2017 titled Never Hike Alone. Now, there have been a number of Friday the 13th fan films throughout the years. I just want to start by saying this one was by far my favorite. There were things that not much that I disliked about it, but overall it was really good. In the film's directed by Vincente De Santo, I think was his name. Sorry if I butchered that, to the director there. I had it written down. Sorry, Vincente De Santi. So yeah, and it's directed by him, stars him. He actually plays Jason Voorhees. And then your other main actor is a gentleman named Andrew Lady, who plays Kyle MacLeod. And basically what you have here is you've got a survivalist by the name of Kyle MacLeod, who is an adventure blogger, and he's basically going on this adventure. I forget what his mission was in the Catskills of New York, but he stumbles across the old camp. Jason Voorhees is kind of summoned back to life one way or the other, and it's basically a cat and mouse game focusing on Jason Voorhees and the character of Kyle MacLeod fighting each other basically throughout the whole film. So if you can think like Freddy vs. Jason, this is Kyle vs. Jason. So it's really kind of an interesting film in that it was a Kickstarter film, very independent, low budget. It looks really good on a technical level. It actually looks like the film was like made with a much higher budget than it actually is, I'm sure. I don't know how much they filmed it for, but I'm sure that they, it's very, they did a lot with what they had, for sure. And what I liked about the film, like I said, technically it looked great. The acting was pretty good. It was, like I said, it's basically just this blogger, Kyle, who is hiking through the Catskills and reporting back to his viewers, I guess. And so it's basically just him speaking to the camera, but I think he did a really solid job. There was one scene in particular when he gets to the cafeteria of Camp Crystal Lake where he starts talking about the stories that his brother told him and basically about the history of Jason Voorhees and his mother Pamela. Well, it was a little bit... It wasn't bad. I watched this film twice, and the first time I was like, yeah, that was kind of... I don't want to use the word hokey because it's not really a proper way to describe it, but I don't know. But upon watching it a second time, I thought it was okay. That was really the only scene there when he's got that discussion about the camp's history there that I thought was not the best acting. If I thought about it more, but overall it was very good. I was impressed with the acting in this. The story was unique. It was a unique take on the Friday the 13th / Jason / his mother Pamela mythos, but it definitely incorporated many elements of the original film and the mythos of the original film, his mother being the same story, just kind of different in the sense that it's not your traditional group of teens or camp counselors out in the woods fighting Jason. This was survivalist blogger who happens to stumble across. There's actually a scene where he's running in the woods and he trips over these boards and then kind of puts it together and he sees it's a sign that says Camp Crystal Lake, and that's when he discovers where he is. He didn't even know. So I thought it was kind of creative and definitely acceptable. The direction and actually it was unique, the direction that they decided to go, and just kind of make it like a cat and mouse fight for survival with one man, hence the title Never Hike Alone. But I really liked it. I can't say there are good kills because there aren't many, but there are a few. There's one involving and I also have to say that the choreographed fight scenes were top notch. I mean, this looked like just as good as anything you would see in any Hollywood fight film. I thought they were really good because essentially they had to make sure they got that right, because that's your whole, a big part of the film is the actual physical fight between Jason and the character of Kyle in the cloud. So I thought the fight scenes were excellent. Another thing that's really cool about like kind of like the sound design in the film, or the sound. I'm not a techie guy, so I can't always use the correct terminology. But every time Jason walks, it kind of sounds like he's like walking heavily on like wooden boards. It's like woo, 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 woo. And like at first I was like, damn, is he walking on like some hollow wooden platform? But no, it's just like I actually really liked it. I thought it was cool. I mean, maybe if the film was 2 hours, it would get annoying after a while, but because it was a shorter film, and because I just didn't think it was overused, but I really liked that added sound effect that woo, woo, just made like this menacing, like this hulking beast was walking towards you type deal. Like it kind of solidified that. And I really liked that. And I also thought that the I don't want to say the makeup effects on the actual character of Jason were good. Jason's movements were good. I was really impressed with the director who actually played Jason Voorhees. Vincente DeSante's performance was quite good as Jason Voorhees. He wasn't as like hulking and menacing. Well, he was pretty menacing, but he wasn't as like beefy as your traditional, your later Jasons. But that's okay. The mask was cool. There's even a scene where they're fighting. The two are fighting, and Jason Voorhees gets his mask knocked off his face, and you kind of get that Part 8. God, it reminded me of something else too, like another monster from another movie. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty. And another thing is, it kind of took like all of the good or a lot of the good elements from the Friday the 13th franchise, and you know, kind of it picked its punches where it was gonna, or for lack of a better description, where it plugged them in. Like there's a scene where he's in this barn and he opens the swing door and he explains what that was used for or whatever. So I thought like Friday the 13th Part 3, the barn scene, and then I don't know. There are just a lot of like, and also another really cool thing about this film, the incorporation of, so when the character of Kyle is kind of exploring Camp Crystal Lake, when he first discovers it, or uncovers it rather, he noticed these little flags kind of like taped in certain areas. Like there's one on the door that leads to the bathroom. There's one on the beach or on the lake. And what we find out soon after is that they're actually crime scene investigation flags or whatever. They're marking off the crime scene, flags to mark off a crime scene. So, and it's really cool because if you look closely at where, like the placement of all those flags, you see, oh wow, that was in the bathroom when part so and so was killed, and so it was really, they really, I think, tried to make the connection between the previous films and the crime scene flyers that were found throughout the camp. I just thought that was a really cool little added thing to the whole story. And you get the whole, like, I don't want, without spoiling too much, you get the, you get lake scenes, you get Pamela Voorhees beheading homages, you've got, just like a really good smorgasbord of everything that makes Friday the 13th memorable, with the exception of your doomed character. You're doomed! There's nobody in this one to say that, unfortunately, because it's just solely, this blogger's take on what's happening, one perspective. And also there's a really cool surprise at the ending. The actual very last sequence, I was kind of like, I think it could have been stronger. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say what it was. Watch the film and you'll see. But there is a really cool guest appearance at the end of the film. There's actually another guy looks two. One of them looks familiar, but one, of course, think previous Friday the 13th, the character of Tommy Jarvis. We do get a really cool, what do you call it? Guest appearance, special guest appearance from one of the actors from the Part 7, I think, Part 6 or 7. But anyway, yeah, so overall, really good. There's a scene where the character of Kyle is basically, Jason pops out of the water and crushes his head. I don't care that I'm spoiling this because there's no other way around it. It was a fucking awesome kill, man. It was like right up there with anything you would see made in Hollywood now, or like the best of the new Friday the 13th remake kills. Like this was right up there with any of them. Like I was really, really impressed with that head squashing kill in particular. I thought it was awesome. But yeah, overall, I really liked the film. I mean, the only thing I would really dock it for was the acting at parts, but overall, I think your main character, Andrew Lady, Kyle MacLeod, did a really good job. So, yeah, I mean, just the abrupt ending, I guess maybe I would dock it for. The acting in some scenes, and I don't know, but you just have to remind yourself that Jason is a supernatural character, and I think if you keep that in mind, anything goes, anything's acceptable. And I don't think they rely too much on that for you to be like, oh, well, that's total bullshit, it would never happen. But it's imaginary, it's a supernatural story, so let it fly. I don't think they use that as a scapegoat too much. But I enjoyed it, I really did. So check it out, guys. Never Hike Alone from 2017. This film, I'm not sure how or if it's ever going to be available. I will definitely buy it day one. If it's released on DVD or Blu-ray, whatever the media source is, I will buy it because I enjoyed it. And you guys should check it out. It's free. You can watch it right now on YouTube. Never Hike Alone - a Friday the 13th fan film full movie. And it's Womp Stomp Films is the, I guess, production company. Vincente De Sante's company, so I would assume. So that's it, guys. Friday the 13th fan film 2017. Kyle out, motherfuckers. You'll get that once you watch the movie. T-Money out, motherfuckers. Catch you next week on Body Bags with Horror Lars. Oh, that was a dud.